Language, from the Latin root for tongue. And like the root meaning, every place, time, and person has a different tongue, a different way of communicating through language. The differences in this language can be seen everywhere, from the way people interact, to the media and entertainment shown. Language never remains the same. TV shows are a great example of this. Each country and time period has similar shows, but each differs in the language used to suit the intended audience. This variance of language can even be seen through shows as simple as Scooby Doo, with even its consistent and predictable plot having differences in the language used. Let's take a look at the ending scene from What's New Scooby Doo? Vampire Strikes Back, which showcases the typical ending of the series.
Don't worry, it's hypoallergenic. Steve Fortescue?
Okay, so we've proven Steve is the vampire, but we don't have a clue who's been helping him escape from his cell.
That's not exactly true. It's no makeup effect. Steve and the vampire look identical because they're twin brothers.
Of course! How else could anyone be in two places at one time? Unless they look exactly alike.
I bet that birth certificate with the name Stu really belongs to Steve's brother here.
And this photo of Steve looking in the mirror was really just the two brothers standing face to face.
Okay, but that still doesn't explain why they wanted to trash our video shoot.
I think they wanted to scare everybody off and ruin Owen's business.
And it would have worked if it weren't for your meddling kids! Hi, everybody! You'll be happy.
Now let's take a look if we change the language of What's New Scooby Doo to Spanish.
Por supuesto, ¿de qué otra manera podría alguien estar en dos lugares al mismo tiempo, a menos que se verán exactamente iguales? Apuesto a que ese certificado de nacimiento con el nombre de Stu realmente pertenece al hermano aquí. Y esta foto de Steve mirando en su espejo era realmente solo los dos hermanos de pie cara a cara. Bien, pero ese todavía no explica por qué quieren destrozar nuestro video. Creo que quieren asustar a todos y dirigir el negocio de Owens. Y habría funcionado si no fuera por ti entrometidos niños.
When translating the scene from English to Spanish, specifically the Spanish spoken in Mexico, we can see that only small literal translations are present. For example, in the English-speaking scene when the villain calls them meddling kids, it is roughly translated to fit the audience who speaks Spanish. They choose words similar to the English version, so the words meddling become entrometiendo, or intrusive in English. Overall, changing the language of the scene only affects the words spoken by the voice actor, but keeps the same messages of teamwork and friendship that the show wants to convey to their audiences.
Now let's take a look if Scooby Doo was written for an adult audience and was a romantic crime show.
Code 908, Code 908. We got a crook running on 18th Street. Suspect is wearing all black, 6 foot, ugly.
Speeding up! Jinkies, he's gonna evade us!
Alright, Shaggy, release the hound.
Alright, Shaggy, get your tasers out. You may be armed and dangerous. Yep, I got it.
I'm cutting him off. He's turning onto the left street.
Like, Zoid's friend, what do I do?
Newbie, get your shit together. Cuffs out.
Zoinks!
Alright, gang, the trap's set. He's cornered.
Like, you're under arrest now!
Jeepers, I've been hit! Like shit! You've been hurt real bad, Daphne! Shaggy, go get the first aid kit from the van! Right now!
Fred! I'm not gonna make it!
Don't say that! Don't say that! Stay with me! I got you! I got you!
I'm sorry. We couldn't do all the things we said we would do. Please. Just one last kiss. Daphne.
No! Daphne! 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 You! That little punk! He deserves it! No, Fred! Killing Daphne! He'll serve his time in criminal confinement! No!
Like, hold Fred. Justice will do its thing.
Damn! I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids. Don't laugh. Shut up, asshole! You have the right to remain silent, so stay silent! Just one punch. Oh, fuck.
An altered version made for an audience of adults would contain more mature composition. Compared to the original, this scene contains foul language, violence, and realistic criminal content. Kids who would rather watch a clean, fantasy type of show that appeases their innocent minds would not be prone to hear words such as
damn
or
like shit.
To them, the bad guy wouldn't be carrying a gun and shooting the main character. Adults, on the other hand, have a more developed mindset and would be more entertained by this type of sophisticated theme filled with a lot of drama. Adding serious and thrilling action and modifying the language of the dialogue to the Scooby Doo scene grasps the adults' attention much more than it would with the children's. For adults, the scene wouldn't have soft comedic scenes and a happy ending. Instead, there would just be death, death, and death, all which would be reflected by the language used.
Now let's take a look at the differences in time with the original Scooby-Doos and the newer ones.
Scooby-Doo is a show that has spanned the generational gap. We see a reiteration of the mystery-solving gang in every era of television. To compare how time changes the content of a show, we don't have to go much further than the intros of the episodes. Here's a clip from the original show. Pay attention to the music.
Where are you? We got some work to do now. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? We need some...
This 1969 original theme is iconic to say the least, and we can see the effect of 60s era rock and late 60s jazz in the first theme. Diving a little deeper into the late 70s era of beach rock and roll, we can look to the theme of the 1976 The Scooby Doo Show.
Hang around for Scooby-Doo.
Using colloquialism like "izza" and slang like "hang around," this show attempts to target the audience of the 70s. Going into 1988, we see heavy influence of the generation's disco and pop in the intro of A Pup Named Scooby-Doo.
Scooby-Doo, 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 Scooby-Doo.
There's a mystery in town, so call the coolest pop around.
As a final analysis, we see the influence of 2000 boy bands in the theme to the 2002 series What's New Scooby-Doo.
What's the Scooby-Doo? We're coming after you. We're gonna solve that mystery.
These intros seek to please the audience of the time, changing style, lyrics, and overall tone to reflect the mood of the series, and show how language changes over time to please the audience.
As you can see, language is changed and used to appease to a certain audience. This is best seen in TV shows, which are published throughout the world and often with reruns and new seasons. But the language in these shows change at each location and with each new season to fit with the audience who is going to watch it and reflect what they want to see, while still maintaining its originality. So fuck that. I'm going to read a book.